Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you've already read the title, and again sorry for the late upload, but today we're talking about 5 things that I've learned, or 4 things depending on whether Kirore makes it mixed on the video or not. I'm talking about what I've learned over the few months that I've seriously gotten into it, and the people who are going to talk about it are the people I've learned it from. That's going to be my dad, that's Kagiri, Brian. If Kirore makes it, he'll be in the video. If not, he'll make an appearance next time all on his own. Then I'll talk about the last point. Hopefully you guys enjoy. And my dad is going to start us off with discipline.
My name is Martin Butura. One thing I want to point out to everybody who's got a goal or who wants to do anything: consistency and discipline is a must. From when I took up cycling, that's after COVID, I opted that that's what I'm gonna do at my free time and as a sport. The moments I will go for trips, family trips, but I will schedule or everything, my trips to wherever point or whatever I have to do revolve around my cycling calendar. So I cycle in the morning very early so that I can be in time for work. And even if I feel like I'm not gonna do it, I'll just find myself saying I cannot miss this ride. It's the days I've set aside for cycling and I must do what I have to do. But nothing will ever come without some sort of discipline and consistency. And I push it now to a level of endurance so that I can do it more. And I've seen the results because, well, if I told you I have lost 22 kilos on the bike, which I've never lost in any other sport, going to the gym, going wherever, what I will share with everybody, if this is what you want to do, make sure there's consistency in it and do it whenever you have to do it, and don't have excuses. If you've scheduled it for this time, let it be that time. If for one reason or another, i.e. cycling, it could rain when we want to cycle in the morning, but I will compensate sometime in the day after work to do something which I missed out in the morning. And that is what now discipline is all about. Don't throw it out the window because the weather was not favorable. So that's how I believe, and that's what I want to continue doing. I'll encourage everybody, whether it is cycling, whether it's anything you want to do, your goals in life, there must be some sort of consistency and discipline in whatever you want to make. The end goal must have those factors considered. And we roll.
So you said you're how old?
I'm turning 57.
Yeah. I hope you guys have heard everything the old man had to say. Number 2 is gonna be suffering, and to be honest, I've learned a lot from Kagiri when it comes to suffering these big races. The guy, you just hear what he has to say.
I've been doing this for the last 15 years now. One of the key things that I've learned through my whole career in cycling is that you need to learn how to suffer for you to see the benefits of cycling. That's in terms of improving fitness and getting on podiums. I've been on a couple of podiums before, but I can tell you it's not easy. The difference between you and the guy in front of you is the difference between who will endure suffering the most. So if you can endure suffering for a longer time, then you get a bigger reward. There are no shortcuts. You need to learn how to suffer. And as we always say, S is for suffering. And another one, which was a brutal one, it was a race that I did in Masai Mara, which was the big migration gravel race in Masai Mara. So it's a race where we were covering an average of 160 kilometers a day, and each and every day you finish up with either a broken bike, your body is worn out, you try to recover as much as possible, feed a lot, and also you try to sleep as much as you can, but sometimes because of the fatigue, even sleeping is a problem. And I remember the first day it was a long flat section, and then there was a final 7 kilometers climb. It was not a big climb, I would say. It was about 3% gradient, but because of the strong headwind and the fatigue that you have been carrying along from kilometer 1 up to kilometer 140, it makes this climb look like a monster climb. So it was the longest 7 kilometers I've ever experienced in my life, and I was riding very well. I was in position 11, currently sitting before I suffered a mechanical on the last 10 kilometers where I broke my chain and my rear derailleur. So I had to fix my bike and turn it into a single speed, and since you don't have much time to keep on repairing your bikes, I did a mistake while assembling the chain and I cut it too short, so I had only an option of riding with a harder gear. So it was a long climb, steep, you have a hard gear to grind on, so I kept on gritting my teeth until I crossed the line, and all that I can remember until today is the back pains that I was experiencing the next 2 days during the race that were caused by this struggle of riding with the hard gear on these steep climbs. I finished 19th, which is an international race, and it was my first biggest stage race, which I'm proud of. It's one of the greatest memories that you'll ever have, and I always tell people the best memories come where you have suffered. So you need to learn how to suffer for you to get the best memories.
And that was Kagiri. Now you guys are gonna meet Brian again. Brian taught me about mindset. Brian is one of the biggest fans of cycling I know, biggest fan of Remco. Brian will explain to you how mindset has been a big factor in how he's been able to get better on the bike, given his late entry into the sport. Trying to make it as a pro cyclist at 28, but I don't want to go on past that. Let Brian take you guys through.
I came into this sport a bit late, around 25 years, but it's through mindset that has made me be able to become resilient in the sport. So there was this race that I attended, my first race. It was in Malindi. It was 110 kilometers, 950 meters elevation. I've never raced before such elevation, but I told myself that I could do it. But the moment I started the race, I went in too hard with the pros, such that I almost gave up at the 50 kilometer mark, having done at around 500 meters, because that race was so hot. The Malindi climate is different from Nairobi, and even all the factors just weren't on my side. What made me finish that race is the fact that I had a strong and tough mindset. I pushed myself to my limits. My back was paining, ambulance came, every other thing that you would have done to yourself, I did it to myself. I hurt myself completely, but I pushed myself to the limits such that I was able to reach the finish line, and I just survived. I did not finish. I wanted to complete the race, and once I completed it, all these other races, it has unlocked something. Even in your training, you know that you have some limits that you can reach. You've not reached your limits until you've reached your limits, and the moment you crack that, that's the point you get to know your limits. And mindset is all about knowing your limits. You push against your limits. If you've never done something before, you won't know how far you can go above it.
You can't know your limits until you know your limits. As Brian for you guys. Brian had his first race as a 100 kilometer race, which personally I think was suicide. He's told you guys what happened. Ambulances. If you guys don't know, he raced with a new bike, so it was bigger than him. The guy did a sprint finish for second last. Now I'm not throwing any shade, just letting you guys know what mindset can do to a man. Slept 8 hours all day from Mombasa to Nairobi. But anyway, enough shade on Brian. Let me tell you guys about accountability. The fifth thing I'm going to tell you guys is accountability partners. You don't realize how much you need an accountability partner until you don't have that partner. I can tell you, fitness has been, or rather endurance sports has been one of the best things that I've done for myself. But waking up at 5 something a.m. to go on a run, to go for a ride, to go and swim, it's not that as easy as most people think. But if I'm being honest with you guys, I don't think most people would believe me if I told them I started at a 6:49 minute per kilometer pace. And that was with Kina Kerore. Kerore could easily do a 5:30, 5:20 pace. So did even Kevin. Kevin could even do, I think, a 4:50 or even a 5-minute pace. But these guys waited for me, ran at my pace. Even cycling, the same thing. When I started, I was being dropped 24/7, being left by my dad, being left by Brian, Kagiri. My camera died when I was trying to record. But anyway, I was saying, I was being dropped by Akina Kagiri, Akina Brian, my dad. Like, if you're being honest, that's like what kind of helps you to kind of improve. Because if you don't have that circle of people, you're not able to gauge like where you're at, how far you've come. So like you get comfortable, or rather you just lose track of progress. It's one thing seeing the numbers on Strava, one thing seeing the numbers like on the screen, but once you feel like, hey, I'm being able to catch up with these guys, I'm being able to keep up with these guys, it really helps. And that's for cycling. Like for running, I'll be honest, you guys have heard me say it time and time again. I started at a 6:49, almost a 7-minute pace, running with Kirore and Kevin, and these guys continued running with me even at that pace when they could do well over a 5:20, 5-minute pace. I think even a 4:40, 4:50 pace. But these guys waited for me. These guys, call me like, I saw that time were very consistent with like the 6:15 a.m. before school, and these guys would just be like, yo Mavo, are you coming? Even though days when it was raining, you can imagine. If I find like videos and pictures, I'm gonna put everything up. But like that circle and group of people was really like, it's even why I decided to talk about it, because I'll be honest, I don't think I'd be here. That sounds a bit exaggerated, but I don't think I'd be here without a proper support group. There are times I was busy or Kerore is busy, and I go for the run alone, but I call him the next day when I'm calling to check up, bro, have you recovered the run you missed yesterday? And the same thing on my end. Accountability, man, accountability. I think I'll cut it there. But yeah, I'm really happy people have watched this all the way through.